Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good, because that's what we all ultimately want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy is out for a few weeks, so today, instead of visiting with Amy, we're going to be having a conversation with Ann and Randy Brooks, who are extreme EV enthusiasts. They own an electric vehicle themselves and are passionate about educating others about EVs. And they're part of an association that helps install EV chargers around our local communities to make it even easier for EV owners. I'm also excited about the EV revolution, so I'm looking forward to this conversation. But before we get to all of that, I want to remind you that if you have questions you would like us to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. You don't need to suffer. You don't need to try to figure it out all on your own. As I frequently say on this show, asking for help or assistance or advice, that's a sign of strength. So reach out. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. And that's what we want. We want to move forward powerfully. We want to make progress because progress in any area of life feels really good. So, hey, stick with us. We're going to skip answering any of the emails on today's show because I want to give as much time to Ann and Randy to talk about EVs as possible. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. I'm so glad that you're in this conversation. Today, we are talking about something that's very close to my heart. We're talking about EVs. We're talking about electric vehicles, the electric vehicle revolution. And here on the show today is Randy and Ann Brooks because they are quite an authority on this subject. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
All right, before we jump in, as I told you before, we always want, we like to practice noticing what's going well in life. So have you got a win or something that's going well in your life that you'd like to share?
Go ahead.
We went sailing Sunday night with some friends, and it was just an awesome evening being out on the lake, sailing, summer weather.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh, I love that.
What a gift. What
that
a gift.
feels good, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. How about you? Got anything you want?
Well, we're healthy. We haven't had COVID yet.
Right on.
We might still get it, but we're healthy, and that is huge for us.
Yeah.
That's a huge win, right?
We try to
Yep,
stay healthy
absolutely.
and fit. So
Right on, right on. Yeah, health is the first wealth, right?
yes,
Yes,
it is.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Good. Well, let's talk about EVs. So, it's growing, and I'm really excited about it. Right, we're seeing more and more electric vehicles.
Yes.
And there's all sorts of them. All the major brands are on board now, and with the production line and targets they want to hit. And you guys are longtime owners of electric vehicles. I think you said this is your fourth one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since 2009.
Yeah.
We're driving electric. Yeah.
So a lot of people, I know you educate a lot of people on it, and some of their basic questions are like, what's been your experience? So can you just speak to that real quick?
It's been an adventure, first of all, and it's been great. And we were just talking about, what's the greatest thing we've liked about owning electric cars, and we've saved a ton of money
Yes.
on maintenance and fuel. It's incredible when you add it all up.
Yeah. It's especially today, right?
Yes,
Oh, God,
even
yeah.
more so today.
Yes.
Yeah, and not just on gas, right? Because
No.
Particularly on the type of car that you folks own. You guys own a Model Y Tesla, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's no engine to repair.
Right.
There's no belts
Right.
to repair. There's no alternator. There's no spark plugs or fuel
Tune-ups.
injector or tune-ups
Fluids.
or fluids, right? You don't have to contend with a leaking oil,
Right.
Oil leak, right?
Right. It's really just tires, and because the cars are heavier, they tend to go through tires a little bit more. Windshield wiper fluid, windshield washer blades, and a cabin air filter, and that's really it.
Yeah.
And if something else goes wrong, which they rarely do, then you of course have to take it to a service center or something, or sometimes a mobile technician can come to your house and make minor repairs.
Yeah.
A road
But,
ranger.
Yeah,
Road
but
repair.
it's incredible how maintenance free they are.
Yeah, and even some of the maintenance issues, if there are issues, can be handled over the air, right?
Absolutely right.
With
Yes.
the software, and that's happened numerous times.
Over a Wi-Fi network or the cellular network, you can get updates. And one of the amazing things about it that we've always just been fascinated with is we've gotten over the years probably 100 updates over the air like that. And if your car has the hardware to handle it, you get new software. You get a new user interface. You get a new feature that it didn't come with for free.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is. It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot like how you get updates on your phone,
Exactly.
right? Or to the operating system,
Right,
You
yeah.
get that same thing,
Right.
in your electric vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember one day I got in the car and there had been an update and it says Tesla now, or you can now speak Polish, or Tesla now understands
Right.
Polish, right?
Right. They have different languages they keep
Yeah.
adding
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks to the climate control system like dog mode and camp mode, you can leave your pet in your car and set dog mode up and it'll keep the car warm or cool for your pet. And a big sign on the screen so that people don't break your window to save your dog when it doesn't need to be saved. And then camp mode, you can camp in the car and it keeps it warm or cool, whatever you want.
And we have numerous times
Yeah.
with both our Teslas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a Model S before the Model Y,
Uh-huh.
and we even camped in that.
Nice.
And it's so comfortable having the climate control.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Some people may want to know, like, any buyer's remorse, any regrets about transitioning over to an electric vehicle.
Zero.
Yeah, absolutely
Nothing.
zero.
Okay.
Like I said, there are people get into EVs for various reasons, and for us, economics was the biggest one, and then the second one was environmental. But it has saved us so much money. And one of the things that people don't think about too is because it's cheap to operate, you can take an extra trip to get a loaf of bread and drive to Wenatchee to get it instead of just getting it in Chelan.
Not that we do that.
Not that we do that, but and you can drive and do things and enjoy it without feeling guilty about you're wasting money on fuel or you're polluting the atmosphere. It's just wonderful.
I love that one, especially too, like thinking about going on a trip, and before I would have to calculate, how much do we need for gas? And then I'm like, I don't have to factor that in.
Right.
And we'll get to this later, but there are plenty of free opportunities to fuel your electric vehicles.
There are.
Right? And
Yeah,
there's
there are.
a ton of them.
And even if you do commercial charging stations, it's still less expensive than gas, particularly now. Even before the latest surge, it was still less expensive than gas.
Right. Well, so let's do something fun. Let's, because I know, again, you guys go around and you educate people all the time, and there's a lot of myths out there. So let's bust some EV myths today.
Okay.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
So what's a common myth that we can bust for our audience?
Well, one of them that is kind of interesting is people say, we're not going to have enough electricity to power all these electric cars. And, you stop and think about it, well, that's a pretty logical assumption, that, we're going to have a problem. But fortunately, a study was done in 2007 by Pacific Northwest National Labs in Richland, and they concluded then that we could convert 73% of light-duty passenger cars and trucks to electric with no changes to the electrical generation or transmission system. And I contacted the study author in March of this year, and I said, so does this still apply for 2022? He said, yes, it does.
Wow.
So
Isn't
we
that
can
great?
transition
It is.
73% and do it with just what we have right now. And right now, we only have 2% of the registered vehicles in Washington State are electric.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to
Long
go
way to go.
before
Yeah.
we have to worry about it. And other people think, well, it's how will I charge? Well, it's like a cell phone, as you say. You plug it in at home, and even if you only plug it into a regular outlet, if you only drive 20 miles, 25, 30 miles a day, that will recharge you enough to do it the next day. And putting in a 240 volt outlet to charge from, and you're charged up in a few hours, depending on how low you went, and you're full the next morning. And so it's really enjoyable to just walk out and get in your car and drive,
Yeah.
Sometimes we even forget to look at the range indicator to go, oh, did we? Oh, yeah, we got enough. Okay, good.
Well, we did that today because we didn't plug it in last night. I'm not sure what happened with that, but we have plenty to come down
Yeah.
here and go back home to Chelan.
Yeah, because I think, like, on the website you also mentioned that most people drive 40 miles or less
Exactly.
a day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and especially in our community. In our
Yeah,
Right.
in rural areas like us, it's more, but metropolitan areas like the west side, it's less. So anyway, we should probably also say that we're part of Plug-in North Central Washington. It's an all-volunteer nonprofit organization under the umbrella of the North Central Washington Economic Development District, and our mission is to attract EV tourism to Central Washington. And we do that by educating people about electric vehicles and coordinating the installation of a charging network, a free public charging network in North Central Washington. We have 20 free public charging stations. 2 of them are at Pybus Market. As we've been doing this since 2005, actually, is when this organization's precursor organization started. And we're kind of transitioning now. We've got a charger network just about everywhere, so in North Central Washington. So now we're focusing more on educating people about the benefits of electric vehicles and how to drive your electric vehicle properly. You know, some people think, oh, it's like driving a car. Well, yeah, it is, but there are some things like charging etiquette, you know, is important.
Yes.
So that's
Good.
kind of what we're doing.
Okay, great. Let's see. We got time to bust another EV myth. What's the next one?
Oh, let's see. Well, one of the things people say is, well, you're just changing your pollution from the car to a smokestack somewhere to generate the electricity. And actually, there's been at least 3 studies done by the Union of Concerned Scientists that says that electric vehicles from cradle to grave, so mining the materials, producing the vehicle, recycling it at the end of its life, is about half the environmental impact of a regular fossil fuel vehicle. So most of that is during the operating phase when you use electricity instead of fossil fuels, because an electric vehicle is so much more efficient than a fossil fuel vehicle. It's pretty amazing. We don't really think about it when we're driving, you know, growing up with gas and everything, but a fossil fuel vehicle is only like 17% efficient at converting the energy in the gasoline to motion on the ground.
Wow, no kidding.
17%. It's like, that's awful.
It is.
And a lot of that is lost as heat. That's why we have a nice big radiator up there, you know.
Right.
But a battery electric vehicle is about 75 to 90% efficient.
Wow.
So really a
Huge
big difference.
difference.
So you just don't need to use as much energy as you do to power a fossil fuel vehicle.
That's incredible. That's a great myth, because I've heard that, and I never knew how to actually answer that. So I appreciate you providing that education, because how do you study the life cycle from cradle to grave of a vehicle?
Is it
But
really
it's out
making a
there.
difference?
Yeah.
The other thing that I really focus on too is greenhouse gas emissions in Washington State. About 40% come from the transportation sector. It's a little bit greater, well, quite a bit greater in places like California, but around the nation it's about 40+%. So to me, the single greatest thing that I can do to make a difference is to not drive a fossil fuel vehicle and drive an electric vehicle instead. Yeah, 40%, that's the big chunk, the low-hanging fruit. So that's the best difference I can make.
And it's an
That's
easy
really
thing
cool.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Really great point. It's like that's something I can do to help out. Yeah. I want to address something on that topic when we come back from the commercial break, but we got to go to commercial now. So stick around. We're going to be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We're talking about EVs, that means electric vehicles. And we're here with Randy and Ann Brooks from Plug-in North Central Washington, helping educate us about this movement. And it is a movement. It's here. It's not going away like it did before. It's here to stay, and it's growing.
Yep.
So you guys, one of you please address this concept or this issue. Electric vehicles are too expensive and only wealthy people can get on.
Well, we hear that often, and they are expensive up front. But over the life of the vehicle, they'll save you about half the cost over a comparable priced fossil fuel vehicle. So again, that's a nice thing to have. And a lot of these answers to these questions are on the Plug-in North Central Washington webpage, plugincw.com.
And we have some for you here. We've got
Good.
your own copy.
And so it is an investment, yes. But you do save. We save almost $500 a month.
Wow.
Over having 2 vehicles before, because our Model Y as a crossover SUV can tow our sailboat, can tow our utility trailer, which is our pickup truck, and meets all our needs. We can go. It's a little higher ground clearance. We can go on Forest Service roads and go hiking and skiing and things like that. So yes, it's an investment, but if you pencil it out and if you really look at it over the long term, you will save money driving an electric car.
Especially on fuel and all the maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just so much.
So let's talk about safety then.
Ooh,
Because there's another myth that needs to be busted, right?
yes.
They're just a golf cart, right?
You want to answer this one?
Well, yeah, a lot of people think that it's like a golf cart and it doesn't go fast and it's not safe. The Teslas actually are all the 4 safest vehicles on the road right now.
Wow.
The Tesla Model Y, right, is
Is-
the safest.
That's been tested.
So, yeah.
So what about the batteries catching fire or things like that?
You know, I'm going to look at a statistic here on this one because I think it's important to point out.
We actually have some good friends that were T-boned in their Model Y. They walked away. And then we saw another video, of course, there's lots.
Yeah,
They walk away from them. And the batteries don't explode.
right. So there are fires in electric vehicles, but they're rare. But they are sensationalized by the media. So it's interesting to look at some figures. According to the National Fire Protection Association, there are 212,000 fossil fuel vehicles a year in the United States. That's a lot.
That catch fire.
That catch fire, yeah.
And you see those remnants.
You see the scorch marks along the highway? That's where one's happened. They cause 560 deaths and $1.9 billion in property damage annually. But we don't hear too much about that, you know? So yes, there can be a fire in any vehicle, and certainly if you see a problem or you get a warning light, you know, pull over and get out.
Right.
Regardless of what kind of vehicle it is. But there aren't any dramatic numbers of fires in electric vehicles.
Yeah, yeah. There's less opportunity for these vehicles to catch fire than
Yeah.
a regular ICE vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
ICE being internal combustion engine.
Yes.
Yes. Thank
making
you for
sure.
that. Yeah. That's good. All right, good. So they're currently the safest vehicle on the road.
Yes, they are.
They don't catch fire very often, like sometimes the media will make them out to be. What about like road noise and inside cabin noise?
Well, they're really very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet.
You do get some road noise, and you do get a little wind noise, but you don't have the engine noise or the vibration. And so it's really quiet. You can converse just like we are. You don't have to talk loud. And
That's a nice thing about it, too, because you don't also have that vibration that you get from an engine. And so you're a lot more rested when you get somewhere. We've taken quite a few long-distance road trips. Vancouver Island, down to southern New Mexico. We're planning on going to southern Texas this fall. And you're rested by the time you get home
Yeah.
or get to your location. You're not the loud noise and the vibration and
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good. So that leads us to our next question: is you can't take these things across the country, right?
oh, absolutely you can. Yes, absolutely.
Well, and that's the advantage of having a Tesla, too, because we have a 4th charging ability with Tesla superchargers. So it's very easy to be able to go and travel long distance, and we have multiple times.
Yeah. And even during the cutting edge of early EV long distance travel, I mean, people were charging at RV campgrounds.
Sure.
You can plug into an RV camp and camp overnight and be fully charged the next morning, and things like that. Now, the Tesla Supercharger network and the Electrify America network that's being installed, you can travel anywhere you want to go in an electric car.
And Canada, too, they have a great
Yeah.
infrastructure up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very easy.
We've used ours and traveled. I think the furthest we've gone down is to Oregon, but it was very easy.
Yeah.
There are electric chargers wherever you need them. I
Yeah.
mean, they really are.
Yeah.
Hotels, restaurants,
Yep.
little coffee shops, right?
Regular 110 outlets. You can
Yeah.
plug in, even though that's slow, because that's very, it's just a slow charging. But you can do that anywhere. And we have. In southern New Mexico, we did. That's the only charging that we had.
Yeah.
And it worked great.
Yeah, and you can bring your charger and plug it into.
cord, yes.
Yeah, and we
Yes.
have adapters for all
Yeah.
the different charging abilities.
Yeah.
So.
And then the fastest if you're on like a Tesla supercharger,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get about 80% within 30, 40 minutes.
10 or
right?
15.
Yeah, sometimes
You
it's-
see, with
yeah.
the Tesla, and I'm not sure if this applies to other EVs, it probably does, like with the Rivian. But you can say, I want to go to this supercharger. As you approach the supercharger, the car starts to prepare to charge. It warms or cools the battery. You plug in, boom, you're charging at a rate of over 1,000 miles of range per
amazing.
hour of charging. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
In fact, the first time we saw that happen, we actually watched the gauge move. And I was just flabbergasted.
The charging gauge.
So,
Yeah.
on the
We went out
battery.
and we got something to drink. We used the bathroom. We came back and we got a text that, oh, we're ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other cool thing too. Like it's interfacing with your other technology,
Yes.
right? So it's
Yes.
telling you like, oh, your car is done charging, or oh, you left your windows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want us to roll them up for you?
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
I mean,
You left
there's-
your tailgate up.
yeah,
Oh, geez.
right. There's
Yeah.
all these cool things that interface with your other technology.
Right.
But I think the takeaway is that charging is accessible.
Yes.
And does it add time to your trip? Sure, it can add time to your trip. But you get smart and plan it for my lunch break or our
Right.
dinner
Exactly.
dinner
Right.
break, right? And then it
And
really
you-
doesn't add much at
And
all.
we try to stay at some place that has a charger there or nearby.
Yep.
So we can plug it in and it's
Yep.
fully charged in the morning. It's really not a big deal. And the fact that you have to stop to charge every once in a while instead of driving 600 miles in a gas car, and you get the chance to get out and walk around, you get a chance to see local things that you might have just driven right by
And
otherwise.
explore.
Yeah, you get to explore a little bit, and you get to get a little exercise, you get refreshed. But at the end of the day, you're not beat up. You know, you're not tired. You're like, oh, that was no problem.
Yeah, it enriches your trip.
Yes,
right?
it does.
So we have a few minutes left. Let's get to a great topic of the cost of electricity versus gas. I know you guys have some
Oh, yes.
some statistics there.
Yes.
So could you break that down for us?
Sure. So Dr. Jim White, he's a PhD electrical engineer at Chelan County PUD. He came up with this easy way to compare the value of electricity to gasoline. So you take the kilowatt hour cost of your electricity and you multiply it by 10, and that's comparable to what a gallon of gasoline would cost to do the same thing for you, to move your car that far. So in Chelan County, you know, we have the second cheapest power in the nation, 3 cents a kilowatt hour.
Very fortunate.
So that's comparable to 30 cent a gallon gasoline.
30
30
cents a gallon gasoline.
Now, in the nation, the average is 14 cents per kilowatt hour. Some places
still-
much more, and so, but multiply that by 10, that's comparable to $1.40 a gallon
$1.40.
gasoline.
Wow.
Now, when you charge at a commercial quick charging station, you're going to be charged 35, maybe even 40 cents a kilowatt hour. Multiply by 10, that's $3.50 to $4 a gallon. What are we paying now? $5.60, $5.80.
Right, right.
You know, it's still less expensive
Mm-hmm.
than gasoline. So,
I went
Way
to
less.
Federal Way last Friday, and I did a supercharging over in Federal Way. It cost me $18. So that's what it was for the trip.
to go both ways.
And of course, I charged at home at 3 cents a kilowatt hour.
Mm-hmm. Right,
but that's
right.
the idea of it, is to charge at home majority of your trips and the use of your car. But if you're traveling, then there's so many places to
Yeah.
be able to charge.
And I love that. What you just said. To drive from Chelan to Federal Way cost you $18.
Yeah, and
So-
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like incredible.
Yeah.
yeah. With today's prices, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it would have been 50, 60, depending on the car, of
Sure,
course.
yeah.
But a
It saves you money, you know.
mile a gallon car, it would have been over $50. to
Right,
do
and I'm really excited too, and we just have one more minute. I'm really excited too about, it's not just passenger cars now, the trucks are
pickup
here.
trucks. Yep.
Rivians, we have some
I
friends that
saw
have
one
a
the other
Rivian.
day
Yes.
in our town.
We
And-
have one in Manson. There's a white one in Manson, and this pretty blue one came to our house the other day. And they're wonderful cars.
They're really nice cars.
Yeah.
And they have the Ford F-150 Lightning at the
Yep.
local Ford dealership. You can go there and test drive it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm so looking forward to seeing a Tesla semi on the highway.
Oh, yeah,
You know, because we live pretty close to a highway. We hear trucks once in a while, and they're quiet, and they're efficient. We move just about everything with trucks at one point or another, even if it's by rail. Then we take it from the rail to the
Yep.
end point with a truck. So having trucks like the Tesla semi, I'm just really anxious to see that on the road.
Exciting times,
Yeah,
huh?
it
is very much
exciting
exciting.
Yeah,
times,
yeah. It's
yes.
fun to be alive and witnessing this.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
One other thing,
Yes.
plugstar.com.
Oh, yes.
You can find out what cars are available because there's a lot. We heard just recently that you can walk into a Kia dealer
Yeah.
and get a car.
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't
Yeah.
have to wait like everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kia's got some great options now. I'm
Yes.
so excited.
There's
So
so
the price
many.
points, there's lots of different price points.
Yes,
It's
there
awesome.
are.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of used vehicles on
Yep.
the market, too.
Yep.
It used to be that a used Nissan Leaf was just an outstanding buy, and you could get one for your college kid, you know, to get them started. But with the surge in the use of electric vehicles because of the gas prices, all electric vehicles are kind of at a premium.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got to look hard to find a really good
There's
deal.
a lot
but-
available though.
Yeah,
So
crunch the
Sure.
numbers, do your research, and it could serve you very well.
Yes.
All right. Hey, you guys, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate your
pleasure.
time. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and now you know what it's time to do. It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.